What is up, everybody? Wanted to take a couple minutes and show you guys how I solved an issue that I ran into. I just bought a Mesa Mark V 25, which is a killer amp, and it has 2 channels, and you can also switch the EQ on and off. Now, I'm coming from a Fender Blues Junior I've been using downtown for a while, and that has 1 channel, and that's great, and I just use this overdrive and distortion to kick it up a notch. But with the 2 channels on the Mark V, I found there's even more versatility, and I thought that was awesome. But I just don't want to use the included foot switch that came with it in order to switch channels or switch the EQ. And since I use the HX Stomp a lot for all my reverbs, delays, and time-based effects, I figured why not use Midi in order to switch channels on the amp. And I found that there's a super simple solution to do that. Now, I know on the full-size Helix there's extension out where you can do that, but they don't give you that on the HX Stomp, and my board is pretty small, and I don't want to have the foot switch on it. So I found a pretty easy way to replace that foot switch, and that's with this half-size deal, which is the Sir Micro MIDI controller. It's super convenient. All you do is plug in a MIDI cable from the HX Stomp into that, and then you send the TRS cable out to the amp. So that is converting the MIDI signal to the TRS and allowing you to basically toggle the tip or the ring, so I can turn the amp channels on and off or switch between them, and you can also turn the EQ on and off. And I'll show you guys how I set that up. It's super simple. Doesn't take up much room, and it's only like 120 bucks on I think I got mine off of Reverb. So if you're looking for a simple solution to that, this is it. I'm going to show you how I set it up. It's super simple. You guys are going to love it. So we're here at the computer. We got HX Edit open. I should tell you, first of all, the micro MIDI control comes basically set to MIDI channel 1. You can open up the back of it, and there's a bunch of dip switches, and you can switch whatever MIDI channel you want it to be on. And the manual shows you how to do that. But I just left it on 1. I don't have a bunch of MIDI stuff going on, and that's probably the only thing I'm going to be using for MIDI for a while. So that's the easiest for me to remember, is leaving it on channel 1. And I did go through the manual to achieve what I want. Basically, you just want to toggle the TRS tip to activate or deactivate, and same with the ring. So they have that set up to trigger on MIDI CC number 7 for the tip and MIDI CC number 8 for the ring. So we're going to basically take that information into HX Stomp. We're going to open up the command center, and we're going to select what foot switch we want that to go on. I know it usually comes up originally on none. Select your foot switch. You're going to want to do a MIDI CC. Just make sure you're on MIDI channel whatever you're on. I'm on channel 1, so MIDI CC 1 or MIDI channel 1, and then MIDI CC, like I said, to trigger the tip, I'm on channel 7, and then the value for that, according to the manual, it doesn't matter what it is. Any number it's on is gonna trigger it. So I select 0. I'm just gonna change this switch to red because that's gonna line up with the dirty channel on the amp, and that'll make it easy for me to remember and be simple. But change this as well, and that's it. That's set up for switching the amp channel. So you basically switch it, and then you'll see, I'll get a video here of the switch itself lighting up, but you press it and the tip light comes on, stays on, amp switches, everything's good. Now I also want to be able to toggle the EQ on the amp, because I think that's a cool feature, and the EQ on this amp I think is really badass. So I'm going to switch the second, select the second foot switch, put that on MIDI channel 1 because we're still sending on channel 1. And the MIDI CC to make the ring activate that channel is number 8. So we're going to set MIDI CC 8. The value on that one doesn't matter. Again, same as the other one. And then I believe the EQ light on the amp is orange, so I'm just going to choose orange, change that to EQ. And basically everything on the Stomp comes up the way I want it. It has the amp channel on the first switch, EQ on the second switch, and that's that's it. That's super simple. We can get out of Command Center, and I'll bring up a video showing that is actually switching on the tip, and then this one switches on the ring, and that is switching everything on the amp as well. So we are all good. We can save that switching, and then you can also incorporate that however you want. You can set that up to trigger when you change scenes. You can add other stuff to those buttons so multiple things happen at the same time, and from there, that just makes life so much easier, especially if you're going to use scenes, because you can set it up to change whatever you want all at the same time. You don't have to do any tap dancing, not pressing 5 buttons to make one change. So hope you guys enjoy that piece of information. Like I said, the micro Midi control is only 120 bucks, and it's an awesome way to make life a little bit easier if you're using channel switching on your amp.